Hey, welcome back. Another day, another vlog. Well, we're in another location in our other house that we are getting prepped to sell. Part of the 2021 life-changing events that we're undertaking. So yeah, it's all happening at the moment. Big drive today. Got to drive a proper good test of the Touareg. Had a trailer on the back of it. That V10 went pretty well. Went good Ks. Engine still feels pretty good. Fuel wise did pretty well, so very happy with that. Trailer on the back, no issues. So cross my fingers, knock on wood. It's going well, the new car. So can't wait to have some more fun with that and get out and do some trips. So good stuff. Here for a couple of days, so a bit of a change up. So forgive my lateness. A few things happening in that regards, but it's all going well now. Also had some stuff in the mail. Got a new hoodie, part of the new merch, floating around. So this one's out. It is a white one, but I've got it for winter. Thought I'd just get something to test it out. But that's going really well. So if you haven't got any merch, winter's coming up. Hook yourself up, and there's a heap on there from the new store and Printful, and also the fact that you'll also help us out, keep you up to date with all the latest news, wherever you are, whether you're on the podcast or whatever. A little bit of merch goes a long way. Winter's coming, change of seasons, need some new gear. I've made sure there's a couple of different hoodie options up there for you, and some all sorts of different clothing and bags and whatever else for gifts. Be very cool, and it does help the channel out, so I do appreciate it. So go check that out. And I've got my new hoodie ready to go for winter for the show. And you'll see, hopefully, my new shirt will rock up soon, so I can get rid of this oldie, the old Teespring version. The Printful version's a lot nicer. I've had sort of some people say they don't really, I don't mind it. I think it's cool. I love this logo, but so I'm a little bit biased. Anyway, other than that, yeah, I got a heap of editing done yesterday. I've pretty much finished the video for this week, so that's ready to go, day 3. I've got to sit down and start editing next week's video and start getting through the photos. It's going to get worse as I go. I know at the moment I'm sort of lucky. The first few days of the trip, I was sort of just pitter-pattering in. Once I started getting to the Albanese and the Esperances and stuff like that, I started getting bulk amounts of photos because there's just so much to shoot. So I have got a ton of stuff to come up. So it's helpful at the moment because it makes it a little bit easier to get a bit of work done when I don't have 6,000 photos to go through. So looks pretty good. But the new video come up pretty well too, and very happy with how that has worked. So super excited. Oh, just check. I thought I didn't have my Rode mic on. Wow. Let me just double check. Ah, yeah, all good. That would be funny. Anyway, so look, in that regards, all good. So Friday there'll be another premiere. You can come along, join us, ask me any questions you may ask me. I have had a couple of questions asked me today. I put a photo where I had myself. I did a bit of a selfie shot on the Brenda Falls video up on Instagram, and a gentleman asked me today if I got sponsored with all the gear that I use, because I mentioned all the stuff I wear, and I thought, well, no, look, that's a good question. Sometimes people are just pushing it out there, and I can understand all that. No, I don't. I'm not sponsored by any companies, any gear that I use that I mention. It's because I think it's a good product. So it's always good when you're starting out to have someone that tells you the right stuff or good stuff. If you're going to spend your hard-earned cash on something, you want to make sure it's A, good quality, and B, going to do the job that they say it's going to do. And unfortunately, there is a lot of cheap junk out there. That's fine, and I understand that. I buy a lot of cheap stuff to try stuff out. And then if it's the right purpose, then I'll try and find where they've copied it from, the good stuff, and then go and get that once I can afford it. So look, I understand the cheaper stuff, but yeah, just want to shout out. It'd be nice if I was sponsored by all these amazing companies that all the stuff I wear, but maybe one day. Never know. Once we get bigger, we might be able to do that. And if I do, I'll let you know. And I'll make sure that if I do get sponsored, I can get you some gear to throw some gear back at you. So I think that's what it's all about. Part of the sponsorship is to get you to try some of these nice bits of gear that I get to use every day. And I use them and I abuse them. My Dana boots at work have copped an absolute flogging, and that's why I have no problems throwing them out every time I do mention them. I probably mention them a lot, but hey, their boots and shoes are fantastic. So that's why I do. It has to be good if I'm going to throw their name out. Rightio, over to the news. A little bit of stuff going on. Canon's got a new, well, we talked about the new Cine camera, that R5C coming out with the fan update yesterday. Well, they've also got actual one of those videos like the XA series that come out. Sort of not a proper professional video camera, but like the little portable one, more of a sort of just starting out into your film sort of area. They've got some really good stuff. They've got a new one coming out. It's the XF505. You'll see the picture on the thumbnail. So it's in that XA sort of series. Well, this the latest version of those. It's going to be released second half of the year. Same 1-inch sensor as the XF705. So if you use proper film guys doing the actual videos and films and stuff, they're not just using hybrid photo cameras. Just professional film guys. This is for, you'll understand all about that. It's got 12G SDI outputs on it and SD cards. It's also got 15 times integrated zoom into it. It's running BPA batteries, which are pretty standard for the Canon side of things once you get to the film. And should be released at the NAB show. And this NAB show is where they're going to be releasing all this big Canon stuff that we were talking about in the last couple of weeks. We're talking about possibility, that's when they're talking about the R1, the R5C, all those new Cine lenses and all those other big white lenses as well. This NAB show, second half of the year, is going to be like an Apple event type scenario they're talking about for Canon. It's going to be huge. There's going to be a ton of releases. It'd be fantastic to get along to something like that and go and be able to cover it, to see all these amazing bits of tech come out in one hit. It's going to be a big event for Canon, and I think we'll see it more. But stay tuned for that one, Fuse Film guys. That looks like a nice bit of kit coming out. And it's not in the it's not an RE cinema camera, but it's definitely portable, run and gun, definitely something to check out. Now, EF lenses, the purge has begun. They're talking about on Canon Rumors, the EF, let me just turn that down a sec. That EF lens, we know the RF is starting to come out. They haven't had too many lenses, but they're now coming this year. We talked about Canon's going to release more lenses than they've ever released in 1 year at the second half at this NAB show. Well, once all these RF lenses coming out, what they're saying is that the EF lenses will start to back off. They're going to stop producing them. So what stock they have in shops, they're probably going to run that out now up until the second half of the year, and that'll be pretty much the end of it. First one in that line is the 200mm f2 L series image stabilized USM. It's now discontinued or unlisted at Adorama and a few other big stores. So be aware of that. If it is a lens that you use and you've been thinking about upgrading to get another one and you want it for your DSLR or 1DX or something like that, and you don't want an RF lens or you're not ready to make that jump, well, if there's a lens you need, you better get it soon, because I'd say a lot of these are going to just be selling until that second half and then basically pulled off the shelf, offloaded quickly, and that'll be the end of the EF history. So big news. The EF range has done so well, and it's been just marvelous bits of glass in there. So it's a big change for Canon, and I'm sure they're sweating on it to make sure that their RF range is good enough. I think it is. That 24-105 I've got is a spectacular lens, and it's the cheapest of the bunch, but hey, look, it is a really, really good piece of glass. I have no dramas with it, and everything I've done with it has come up really sharp, crystal clear, and it has not missed a beat. So, yep, looking forward to RF. Now that I've got an RP, of course, it makes a big difference once I've got that mount. Hopefully some more cheaper versions that are out there that I can get hold of. All those top-of-the-range ones start becoming second-hand, and I can start looking at getting a second-hand 15 to 35 or a 70 to 200 RF or something along those. That's my dream down the track. So fingers crossed. Now also from Canon, a strange patent out for them. I think it was about last week, but I thought I'd mention it, a touch screen on the lens. We all know about the touch focus on your back, on your LCD display. You can touch to focus and lock it in, so you can lock it on a certain subject. Well, they're talking about maybe these new lenses, possible. This is a possible one. It's not a confirmed one, but a possibility that could be on the lens. So while you're shooting, you could be, instead of having to fiddle around here where your eye is and move that thumb, you could have it on the actual lens, move around, and you can see it through the EVF, lock it onto your spot, and get you locked on focus that way. It also could be for doing your adjustment for your focus control ring, or your, obviously on a couple of lenses they can do multiple functions. So it could be for aperture. You could do it all by swiping on this touchscreen. So Canon's looking at all different things. We know they're much, I guess Sony and Canon are much like Apple. They have patents out going for everything. Whether they come to fruition or not, I guess is a different thing. But yeah, pretty interesting to look at, and it's something you don't hear. So that's why I thought I'd chuck it in there today, and something to chuck in the old noggin and think about. Something different, which is always good. It's not always bad, different, but sometimes it can be a little bit of fun. And when you start thinking about it, being able to do that instead of having to squeeze your thumb around here, I actually think that's probably a better solution if they could work it out. Problem being is it's going to make those lenses ridiculously expensive, and you've got this thing always on there. Is it going to make it? It's going to make it heavier. Yeah, it's a little bit. What if it goes out of crap? If it doesn't work, if you put it on a different lens, then it doesn't work. So yeah, it's got a. I'm sure it's got its flaws. I'm sure it's got its positive, which I think it's easy to see the positives. It could be something that maybe not happen. Maybe they could find a different solution to it down the track. They don't use the front of the camera much. Maybe around the front of that grip they can put a little touchpad or something. Something like that. Who knows? Now, big leak from Sigma. Nakashita has dropped a bit of a bombshell early out. Now, it should be happening tomorrow. I've got to check on YouTube if there's any Sigma events. They're saying a March 23rd release. This new FPL camera, and also a new side-mounted EVF for it. L, possibly large sensor. They're talking about a Sony 60.2 megapixel BSI sensor. Has a possibility to go up to 120 megapixel mode, so a massive bit of tech to throw in this thing. Obviously, they come out as a video-centric camera. The FP the first time wasn't really, it was a bit frowned upon as a stills camera, but video-wise did a really good job. I think this time they've come in hard. If this sensor works as well as what the rumours are, Nakashita's got full legit photos of it, data out of their hardware and online storage. They've got all this details and some photos, so it looks like it's a bit of a wild bit of kit. Roughly about 900 Australian dollars or 75,000 yen. So that's a cheap price, 900 bucks. That's pretty darn cool for a camera of that high quality. That would make Sigma really, really exciting, and definitely something to worth look at. They've got the great lenses. You match to a camera that's could be a possible landscape camera with 60 to 120 megapixels. You've definitely got yourself some interest in there. If they've got a good autofocus to suit with this, that would go really well. USB-C both sides, so you can swap and change your EVF to both sides. So that's pretty cool. And that new EVF-11 that mounts, obviously, on both sides. So that's pretty cool. Look, that's going to be a pretty wild bit of kit. You will have seen the photos. I'll have them in the thumbnail. Go check it out for yourself. There's a heap of websites talking about it. Due 23rd of March, which is going to be tomorrow for you guys in the States. Here, it's going to be the 24th. I've got to check. I'll let you know tomorrow if it has come out, or if it's coming out tomorrow night. I'm assuming Sigma will have their usual online presentation about it. Going to be really interesting to see, because that is something they really haven't had. They've had the video side, the still side has been where they've really lacking, and yet they've got all these amazing bits of glass. If they can change this body and they've got that sensor right, and it can do all these amazing things, look, it's a lot of technical jargon being thrown around in there. Once we see it and get this and see what it's like, if it's as good as what they're talking about, this could be a bit of a big push for Sigma and a big game changer and get them really back into square range with maybe Canon and Sony. That's a pretty interesting sort of argument when you look at what they've got in the glassware. Anyway, that's it. We're going to get more work to do. Never stops here. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by. Whether you're coming this way, that way, I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.